Question number 14 on the reading portion of College Board's Test 3. The central idea of the fourth paragraph is that, so realize this is also a quote question, but we need to identify what the fourth paragraph is. So that's from 35 to 57. What is this paragraph talking about? What is the central idea of it? What is the main takeaway? On average, more than 50% of the time, what is it talking about? So if we remember, the previous paragraph is talking about how public transportation is the opposite of glamour. That it's actually not that good of a system. In North America, it's depressing and bad. And again, last line of the previous paragraph, hopping in a car almost always gets you to your destination more quickly. But what does this paragraph now say? This is going to be the reversal of that. It's going to be the counter argument to that. It doesn't have to be like this. So even though that is how it is in North America, it doesn't have to be like this, is the first line of 35. Done right, public transport can be faster, more comfortable, and cheaper than the private automobile. And we have all this stuff about how great public transportation can be. That it doesn't have to be as depressing and bad as it is in North America, because in other parts of the world, it's already been shown to be much better. So the central idea of the fourth paragraph is that European countries excel at public transportation. Notice again our fixation on European, because what do we say? The first example we get is Shanghai. That's not European. Latin America, that's not European. China, India. We're just talking, we're being just like berated with all these different examples of these amazing public transport projects all around the world. In Shanghai, Spain to Sweden, French towns, Wi-Fi, Latin America, China, India, right? So I don't like the idea that we're fixating on European countries. Don't let the College Board back you into a corner and have you believe things that aren't entirely 100% answering the question. So yeah, Europeans might excel at public transportation, but so do a lot of other countries. So I'm not liking A. B. The central idea is some public transportation systems are superior to travel by private automobile. Maybe. Don't you get the feeling that this answer is trying to sound wrong? It's trying to make you not pick it? It's almost like they're trying to hide the right answer. As always, the College Board has only two jobs: make the right answer look wrong and the wrong answer look right. And this is a good example of making the right answer look wrong. They almost want to hide it. They don't want to say what you're thinking. They want to make it seem like you get confused and then you lose doubt, and you have doubt and you start losing confidence in yourself. Some public transportation systems are superior to travel by private automobile. Is that the central idea of the fourth paragraph? It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like what? It doesn't have to be like in North America where it's depressing. And it doesn't have to be like driving in a car will always get you to your destination more quickly. It doesn't have to be. Done right can be faster, more comfortable, and cheaper than private automobile. So this whole paragraph is about how done right, public transportation can be better than the automobile. So I really like on how when B is saying some public transportation systems are superior to travel by private automobile, that's what this paragraph is trying to do. It's trying to tell us that compared to private automobile, some of these transportations that are already in the world are cheaper, faster, and more comfortable than the automobile. I like that. I like that B. Not only do I get that initial feeling that they're trying to make me not like the answer, right? Like it's like you have an instinctive dislike for the answer choice. Think about it. Understand why you get that feeling. It's true for me. It's true for everyone who takes the test. What else? C. The central idea of the fourth paragraph is that Americans should mimic foreign public transportation systems when possible. Good, bad answer. Is this the central idea of the paragraph though? Is it trying to show Americans like this is how America should be? Americans should try to mimic public transportation in other countries? Or is it just talking in general about the benefits or showing successes of public transportation in other countries? I don't like the direction that answer choice C is taking. It's saying that the main reason why the author wrote the fourth paragraph is to convince Americans that they should copy foreign public transportation. Like that's the only reason why they wrote that paragraph, the fourth paragraph. That's like a weird relationship that we're drawing automatically. We're saying that that's going to be the relationship. Man, I don't really know. I'll leave it though. Even though I don't like the fact that we now can get in, I don't like whenever we can get into the minds of people, or we get into the minds of a population when it wasn't talked about in the passage. What about D? The central idea of the fourth paragraph is that much international public transportation is engineered for passengers to work while on board. Yes, that might be true. However, is that the main reason why the author wrote it? in order to talk about like, oh, by the way, a lot of public transportation around the world is designed for people to work while they travel. Okay, it's not just that. We're talking about public transportation, and we're talking about how it doesn't have to be depressing, how it doesn't have to be slow, and how it doesn't have to be slower and less convenient than a car. It can be more and cheaper and better. So I don't like on how we're fixating on one with D. We're fixating on one little piece of the paragraph, and therefore we're using that as a justification, saying that's what the whole paragraph's about. Watch out for that. Avoid falling for traps where they discuss specifics and then as a result ask you to generalize to the entire paragraph or passage. So I'm down between B and C. I think C is misleading because we talk about what Americans should do. But this is not about what Americans should do. This is not a policy prescription. This is just telling us the reality of the situation, that public transportation can actually be faster, more comfortable, and cheaper than private automobiles. It's not saying anything about Americans. It's just saying it doesn't have to be like that in America, because here are some examples around the world where it's not the case. Look at B again. The central idea is that some public transportation systems are superior to travel by private automobile. That's a much broader statement, and that's a much more overarching theme that the author is trying to get across than say, Americans should do this thing. Again, it's not a policy prescription as much as just showing us what's possible. I think the answer number 14 is going to be B, but just to be sure, let's look at the quotes for 15. Question number 15 on the reading portion of College Board's Test 3. The central idea of the fourth paragraph, lines 35 to 57, is that. So we thought that the answer to that was some public transportation systems are superior to travel by private automobile. So now we need to find the quote that best answers that question. So let's pretend like the answers to 14 don't exist. We just have to ask, the central idea of the fourth paragraph is what? Let's find one sentence, and notice how all the quotes are in that fourth paragraph. Let's find one sentence that sums up what the paragraph's about. And that might better allow us to understand why B is a better answer than C with 14. I think C is a pretty tempting answer, or why some of these answer choices fall apart for 14. So we have to answer, what's the central idea? What's the main drive that the author is trying to get across? 35. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this, okay? Maybe. I mean, it doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like in North America. So the central idea of the fourth paragraph is that public transportation doesn't have to be like it is in North America. Okay, I feel like we're getting warmer. It's falling short a little bit of exactly saying what the paragraph's about. Because just saying that it doesn't have to be like this doesn't actually tell us what it's about. What about 35 to 37? Does this talk about what the central idea of the fourth paragraph is? Done right, public transportation can be faster, more comfortable, and cheaper than the private automobile. I like this because this summarizes what it doesn't have to be like. We start the paragraph with this vague sentence of saying it doesn't have to be like this. Like what? Done right, public transportation can be faster, more comfortable, and cheaper than private automobile. And isn't this what the main drive is? That we are talking about things that are going really fast. We talk about things that are quiet, that are very elegant. We have things that show how we can work with our laptops and get internet on high-speed trains. And notice the last part of this, even though it's not a quote, it's saying that fast-moving buses move like subway trains, leaving the sedans and SUVs of the rich mired in dawn-to-dusk traffic jams. So we're talking about how private automobile use doesn't have to be the premier source of travel. I like that. I really like 35 to 37 because it talks about all the issues that were faced in the previous paragraph and how things are different in other countries. That it's faster, more comfortable, and cheaper than private automobiles. That's an important distinction, which nicely matches up, by the way, for B with B for 14. That some public transportation systems are superior to travel by private automobile. That we're making a pivot and we're making a comparison against private automobile use, which is important for B for both these answers. What about C, 37 to 40? Does this talk about what the central idea of the fourth paragraph is? In Shanghai, German-made magnetic levitation trains skim over elevated tracks at 266 miles an hour, whisking people to the airport at a third of the speed of sound. Okay, that's like one particular example. That would be a good bad answer. C would be a really good bad answer for A, for 14, because we're talking about a European country. I mean, oh, we're not actually. We're talking about Shanghai. So maybe the German-made thing gets confused with the French towns and Spain to Sweden. I don't know. It's not a good answer. What about D? 44 to 48. Does this talk about the central idea of the paragraph? From Spain to Sweden, Wi-Fi equipped high-speed trains seamlessly connect with highly ramified networks, blah, 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 blah. Again, that would probably be the bad answer. I take that back from before. D would probably be the good bad answer for A of 14, which is obviously not true because that's not what the paragraph is about most of the time. Which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question about what the main idea of the fourth paragraph is about? The answer for number 15 is going to be B. B is talking about how some public transportation systems are superior to travel by private automobile, because it says that some public transport can be faster, more comfortable, and cheaper than a private automobile. I like how those two things match up. Furthermore, if we want to understand why C for 14 is wrong, Americans should mimic foreign public transportation when possible, there's no quote to support that. There's no quote that says Americans should mimic this system as much as possible, which lends further support for B and less for C. The answer number 14 is going to be B, 15B.